being a sick child, having cancer, in and out of the hospital versus hanging out with your friends and going to school and playing sports. I mean, it's just no fun.
No fun at all. But maybe, just maybe, things could be just a little bit better for these kids if they had some super cool and comfy PJs.
And this is Chick2Chick. You know, Flora, I have been through illness with my girls when they were really, really sick. And it's just so hard as a parent. And the one thing you just want to do is make them comfortable when they're so uncomfortable. It's just so important.
Yeah, especially when you have these kids who are fighting cancer. They're in the hospital maybe for days at a time, weeks at a time, months at a time, and they're walking around in those hospital gowns.
Yeah.
Maybe something like some super cool PJs would make them feel better. A mom has come up with a great idea. She happens to be our guest today, Julie Hershberger. Julie, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. You had your own issue in your own situation with your own daughter fighting cancer. Tell us about your story.
Hi, thanks for having me today. Yes, so our oldest child, Hallie, at the age of 6, was diagnosed with a rare bone cancer called Ewing's sarcoma. She would go through 9 months of treatment and then would go on to live 17 years of her life cancer-free, just live life to the fullest. And then in 2018, she was getting ready to graduate college, and she started noticing some symptoms. And we found out that her cancer had actually returned. So she would go through 2 years of treatments. We were at the time living 2 hours from Nationwide Children's Hospital, but that's where we ended up with her receiving treatments. And unfortunately, on May 15th, 2020, Hallie lost her battle with cancer.
It's such a tragic story. I'm so very sorry to hear this.
Very sorry to hear you lost your daughter.
I can't even imagine. And yet sometimes out of these horrible circumstances, something bigger than you can even imagine happens. And that's what you all have done. And we talked about pajamas, right? So tell us about these amazing pajamas.
Well, to start with, I think I have to kind of go back to in 2021, after Hallie had passed away. Our family really talked about wanting to continue Hallie's legacy. Hallie was such an inspiration to so many people, and she just loved people, loved relationships. Her faith was such an integral part of who she was during her cancer journey and her life in general. And so as a family, we decided to launch the Share Your Story Foundation in partnership with our husband, Alec, who they had talked about, you know, what they wanted to do someday to pay back what people had done for them during her cancer journey and from 2018 to 2020. And so we launched the Share Your Story Foundation, and that was a twofold piece, which was one, providing apartments, homes for families who are going through cancer treatment and have to be far from home. And then secondly was creating this pajama line. This was a dream of Hallie's that she had talked about since the age of 6, honestly. She talked a lot once she got to be like that preteen, 12, 13-year-old girl and was into fashion. She kept coming back and saying, someday I'm going to create a pajama line and want something that kids can feel comfy and just something fashion forward that kids can wear in the hospital besides the terrible hospital gowns that they are given. And so that's where we are today. We, on Sunday, August 18th, launched publicly these pajamas. And we're really excited about, you know, the impact that they could have for not just cancer patients, but any child who has to be in the hospital and receive treatment.
So you mentioned the date. There is a significance to that. Tell us that. What's the name of these pajamas? And describe them to us and how they might help kids who are in the hospital with cancer.
Yes. So the significance of Sunday, August 18th, was Hallie's birthday. It was her 5th birthday that she was celebrating in heaven. She would have been 29, and we just felt it was an amazing way to honor her and what what her dream was to see these pajamas come to fruition. And so we had a huge party and celebration in honoring her and honoring this dream. The line is called Hallie Grace, and the pajamas were created to be able to access ports and pick lines, whether it's snaps that are along the collar here. Nurses, patients can actually just unsnap it. It folds down. It keeps it modest so they're not completely exposed. And then it allows them to actually snap back up once they've accessed those ports or pick lines. We've also created a set of hoodies that have the access in the seam of the sleeve so they can actually keep their hoodie on, unsnap, get to the IV, get to the pick line, leave their arm in the sleeve, or actually take their arm out without actually having to unzip the hoodie itself. So we created this with the idea that it allows them to be modest and keep things covered up and feel that comfy coziness while they're undergoing and receiving this treatment.
So your daughter has the most beautiful middle name, I mean, my goodness, Grace. That's just remarkable, especially for everything. And I find it really cute and endearing that she held on to the fashion part of her cancer journey, like when she was 6 and as she gets into her teenage years, she's just thinking about looking functionally, looking better, which I think every young girl is thinking about, right?
Well, yeah. And, there's a whole modesty issue.
Well,
Girls
sure.
turn into those teen years and those gowns, if you have to pull them down or lift them up, they don't want that. And this just keeps them covered up and gives them that modesty. And I think that's really, and you had said something too that there are messages on the pajamas. And what's that all about, the different designs?
Yeah, so we created 4 different designs. I feel like there's several designs that could either be worn by a boy or a girl, but there's 2 specific that are definitely geared more towards the girls, with specific messaging that really came from encouraging things that Hallie had written in some of her journals. There's Bible verses that we've placed in strategic places on them as well. The hoodies, the sweatshirts, they all have one encouraging message on the sleeve, whether it's, adventures begin or you are a miracle. Things that will remind the patient as they're wearing them that they're not forgotten, that they are thought of and loved, and they're not walking this journey alone.
That's
one of the other
beautiful
things that we did create is a camisole to go under some of the pajamas for the girls specifically. When Hallie was 6, she wore a lot of camis so she could wear those and they could still access the port. And so we felt like for those girls who are maybe going to be a little bit older, in order to help protect their modesty, they can actually wear the cami under the pajama top and still unsnap, still remain covered, and still have the caring feeling of comfort that they can embrace while they're wearing them.
That's so smart. Julie, you're talking a lot about Hallie and the vision that this young woman had. How does this impact you and your family? You've lost your daughter, but you have this amazing, big, beautiful thing that you are pushing out to so many who need it. How's that impacting you?
Yeah. It's such a mixed bag of emotions. The day that we launched was such a beautiful day, but it was also hard. And yet, knowing that I've been given the opportunity to fulfill this dream on Hallie's behalf, she and I were really close. And we often talked about, how her story someday would play out and what she had to share. And to be able to take that now and talk about her, just like today, it's been life-giving for me. It's been part of my healing journey and the grief that we've walked through as a family, to be able to see this come to fruition. We have worked really hard in the process of also understanding that while we prayed And we expected and wanted to see Hallie's story redeemed here on earth. It's not what God had chosen for her at this time. She passed away at the age of 24. And now, as I have been able to process and work through and see all that God has done, especially in these pajamas, the opportunities he's given us, the doors that have opened, I've just been blown away. And so now I can't help but think that this story is not to go unwasted. We need to really make sure that we take what God has given us and use it in an amazing, powerful way to help others. And I know that that's what Hallie would have wanted as well.
It's just a beautiful way to honor your daughter and to keep her memory alive. What is your goal with these pajamas? What do you want to do with them? Where do you want them to go? And the proceeds, what are you doing with the proceeds from the sales?
Yeah, so the pajamas themselves, we would love to get them into any of the hands that we can of children who need them. And so, we've talked to some hospitals. They love what we've done, what we've created. Unfortunately, they can't purchase them, but they are, open to us getting them any information to get into the hands of patients and their families who can. And what we are looking to do is, because part of this is Share Your Story Foundation, and part of our mission is providing homes for cancer patients and their families who have to travel in to receive treatment at Nationwide Children's in Columbus, we know that that can be very burdensome financially. So we currently have 3 apartments, but we need to grow because we are continually getting asked for patients to stay at our apartments. And it's really hard to say no when you know that there's a need. And so our desire is that we can take the profits from these pajamas, put it back into the foundation, and actually grow our homes. We would love to expand into other areas to provide more Hallie's homes to other places, whether it's for Akron Children's, whether it's for Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, wherever we can go to meet a need. We're really looking to grow and use these pajamas for that purpose as well.
It's a win-win here.
It is, Julie. You are remarkable. These pajamas are bigger than just pajamas and pretty amazing. Where can folks learn more about how they can help you?
Yeah, so the foundation website is sysfoundation.org, and that will give you more information about Share Your Story, but there will also be opportunity for a link for you to take you to Hallie Grace Apparel, which actually, if you just Google HallieGraceApparel.com, that will take you to the website, and it will allow you to go on there. You can actually purchase a set of pajamas on there and donate them, and Share Your Story will make sure that those pajamas get into the hands of a cancer patient or any patient, honestly, who needs them. Maybe they can't afford it, but you want to gift them a pair, and Share Your Story will make sure that that happens.
Julie, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It is a remarkable story, and we wish you the best of luck with these pajamas. Thank you.
Thanks, Julie.
Thank you so much.
It's great. Sometimes it's the little things.
Yeah.
It's the little things that mean so much. And for these kids, again, walking around in these hospital gowns, if they have these comfy PJs, it's going to make them feel better.
Yeah.
I think it's going to make a huge difference. It's a great idea.
I think she has no idea what's about to happen, because I think it's going to be incredibly impactful.
Beautiful.
We appreciate you being with us today. Do us a favor, head over to our YouTube channel, like and subscribe until we're back to chirp about another topic.